What's up, tubers? T.O. here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight with some more lake breakdowns. That's right. You know what? Since we just finished up Lake Palestine, and I've been holding off that lake forever until regionals was finished. It has been out on the website, though, if you still wanted the card. But tonight, we're actually going to go jump into that thing. Let's go take a look at it. Let's see what it has to offer. We're going to use Google Earth, and we're going to see what we can find. And I know I've got some stuff that is really going to help you out. Let's go. Let's go ahead and jump into this thing. So obviously the first thing that we always do when we go out to the lakes in Texas is we go out to the Texas Park and Wildlife page and look at their fishing page to try to get some details about the lake and things like that. This is very, very helpful, especially if you're going to a lake for the first time. It at least gives you some of the basics that are out there. You can also come out here and you can find the public access facilities. So that's going to show you where all the ramps are and stuff like that. It's really going to help you out. So make sure you take advantage of the Texas Parks and Wildlife page. But while we're in here, let's just kind of talk about this one. So Lake Palestine, it's located on the Neches River, about 15 miles southwest of Tyler on Texas 155. So fairly close to us. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours away, depending on where you launch at from the DFW area, at least from Rockwall, where I live. Surface area on this lake is 25,000 acres. So fairly large lake. And one of the things that's really cool about this lake is it's almost 100% fishable. You can get all the way up here on the north side. You can get up here in the Kickapoo or Flat Creeks. You can get all the way in the back of all this stuff. So even when we had all of those boats out there last weekend for the regional tournament, plus we had the MLF guys that were out there as well. So I think there's about 290 boats in a tournament out there. Plus you had all your weekend anglers. It still did not look as crowded as you would have thought it would have been. So this lake does very good at holding the pressure. As far as the lake levels go, the current lake level today is April the 11th, is really above pool, I believe. When you look here, it's just a little bit above pool, maybe a foot to 2 foot above pool. Let me see if I can scroll down here and show you guys real quick. Most recent today, let's see where water level is. Percent full, 100%. So that's pretty good. So it's just a little bit above pool right now. Now, as far as the fish that go in this lake, you've got predominant fish species of largemouth bass, spotted bass, white and hybrid striped bass, crappie, catfish, and sunfish. If you look down here on their chart, it says largemouth bass fishing is good, spotted bass is good, catfish is excellent, and the hybrid and white bass are excellent as well. You know, this is typically, until this last weekend, this has been one of my more favorite lakes to fish. I would put this lake in more of the good, maybe a halfway good, halfway excellent lake. This is a great lake to go fish. You definitely, if you haven't gone and checked it out, you definitely need to. Now let's look real quick at the lake records before we get off of here. We always like to go out here and look at the largemouth bass. The largest largemouth bass from this lake, from Lake Palestine, is actually 13.22 pounds. So a little bit less than what I thought it would have been, especially being an East Texas lake. So anyways, that is the lake records. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to switch us over and we're going to go out to Google Earth and we're going to see what we can find from the mapping side. Let's do it. All right, so here we are on Lake Palestine on the Google Earth side. The first thing I want to show you is over here off to the left-hand side, just how I break this thing down. So all the lakes are a little bit different depending on what we find. But on this one, the categories here are going to be offshore hot spots. So if you see here, if I just deselect all of that, that's going to show me all of my offshore hot spots once I move it up to the current date. So these are all the different spots that we found by looking at Navionics and looking at contour lines and things like that to see what we could locate. You've also got rocks that are going to be all put in here. Now, there weren't a lot of rocks on the southern end, but there was a little bit kind of mid-lake. Then you've also got channels. So all the channels are marked with tracks. So you can really fish around those creek channels. Ponds, debris, laydowns, all of that good stuff. And then finally, all the different boat ramps that are out there as well. And you've heard me talk about boat ramps before. You've watched my lake breakdown videos. Definitely something you want to check out. So let's move this over and let's go ahead and start breaking this thing down. So now that that box is out of the way, let's go up here and look at the years. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to this time box. I'm going to click that on. And then what that's going to do is that's going to allow me to draw the time back from wherever it is today to a different time of year. So let's say if I move this down, usually we'll start at the dam and work our way up. So let's not change anything today. Let's keep it the same. There's not a lot down here as far as stuff that we found, but let's just look at one of these ramps here. This is the image from 2020, really bad image. And let's just start working this down and see if we can find when it was the lowest. And I'm just going to cheat real quick because I already know what it is. It's 2013. So when we get to 2013, you're going to notice that everything gets drawn down a lot. See how we're actually a lot more things are exposed, things like that. So that's the image that we're going to use. It's not really, really clear, but I believe that's the best one we have. We go back to 2011, the water's back up again. So that's going to be the best image we have to go with here. Now that is going to restrict us from being able to see some stuff. So I'm sure that there's going to be some things in here that you guys are going to get me on and say that I missed, but this is the best image that I could find. So really just starting off, I mean, first thing is obviously going to be riprap around the dam. There's a lot of it that you can fish. One of the things that I noticed here, though, on fishing this dam is it's pretty shallow. It's not like a huge drop, at least on this side. I think we fish from here to over here, and we'll look at it on Navionics, but it's not the typical like really deep dam that you're used to. But I'm surprised I might have a spot here, but this spot right here just looks really juicy because you do have some really deep water right here. It gets a little bit shallow. You have this little point that comes out here. And then you've also got, just the dam being there, which they're going to be attracted to. So as we move on up, just really not too much going on here. Just a lot of dirt banks. You've got a little ramp that's right here you could check out. You got an offshore spot that's over here that I'm sure we'll talk about, a little hump that's out there. But when you look on the land for laydowns or rock and things like that, notice there's just not a lot here. It's just pretty much bare pretty much everywhere you go. There's no rocks off these points. There's no laydowns or anything like that. So didn't find a ton really on the southern end of this lake. Now, when we get up in the northern end, we're going to start to see a lot of cool stuff. We've got some ramps that are here too, just some private ramps. Moving back into this Chimney Cove, didn't see anything from laydowns to rock or brush piles or anything like that. Didn't see any of that. But what you do see when you draw the water back is back here. One, you've got a lot of standing timber that's back in this area. So like this point right here would be a good area to fish around, especially with all that standing timber being there. Obviously, fishing the insides of this little roadway is going to be good too around that bridge. Maybe fishing some of the standing timber in here. But the thing that was cool about this one is if you go back and we go back up this little arm, now we actually see a defined little creek channel back here. Now, if you've watched any of my videos before, I love it when we can find places like this where we can actually find a really good creek channel to fish around. Those are typically high percentage areas where we can typically catch some fish. If I move that up to 2022, you're going to see here that it's not as obvious when the water's up, but when the water's down, you can definitely tell where that channel is. So that's where you have some real big advantages by using these waypoints from us, Simplistic Fishing, is that you can follow that track all the way back through there. All right, so that's enough of my sales pitch. Let's keep moving on. I'm going to move this back to 2013. And my apologies, I've got some kind of head cold, so I might end up having to cough like halfway through this thing just because I'm having a hard time breathing today. So as we move further up here, one thing that I like about in this area, and I didn't mark it and I probably should have, is notice all the standing timber that's right here, just right off the edge of this point. So I imagine most people are going to come up to this point and fish this way. But I'm thinking that just by looking at this, your hot spot's going to be more right in this area, right where these trees are. So definitely go in there and look at those trees. They're definitely isolated. There's nothing like it anywhere around, and it's very close to the point. I believe we've even caught some fish there in that area before, so I know it's going to be a pretty good spot. Now, if we pull back and we look over here, we do have a little bit of standing timber here as well, a little bit over here, but it's just not as good as that. That's just a nice little clumped out little area, very specific. And really, if you could get the wind blowing into that, that could be a fire spot for sure. So let's keep moving up. Didn't see too much in there. We do have a ramp here, maybe a little bit of rock right in here. Definitely something going on. But again, that's going to be pretty darn shallow. This ramp's got some pretty good washout here. And it looks like maybe some potential rock or stuff like that that's been pushed out from this ramp. So maybe just fishing a little bit back off of that ramp and see if there's anything in that area. From an imaging standpoint, I'm just not seeing too much. Again, these are kind of the same thing, not seeing a lot, but there is a couple things up here. There's a nice little creek channel that's up here that you could follow, especially getting back in here. It becomes a lot more defined. You could also come up here. You just got to be careful because of all the standing timber that's in here. But if you come up here on the left-hand side, you're going to notice that there's an old pond that's right here. And I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about it before, but pond dams, especially in the summertime, can be just money, money, money spots to go check out. This one looks pretty good. The pond looks like it's got some pretty good depth to it. It definitely has a very good dam that's right there. Let's go ahead and pull this up to 2022, and you're going to notice that you'd have no idea if you were out here fishing that you were fishing right on top of a pond. So definitely take a look at that. Pay attention to what you're doing when you're over there. In that area, I think that pond dam should be a really good area to find some fish, especially in the summertime. All right, so as we move further on up here, not too much, not too much like creek channels or anything for me to mark for you. So not much going on there. There is a ramp there that I missed, so I need to mark that one. But really just going up, nothing too crazy here, right? Everything's pretty much just a dirt bank. You know, you're going to fish the docks and stuff like that. Not a lot of debris or laydowns that are in the water that we can see. Got a little bit of debris here and a little bit of debris there. Those could be old boat ramps too, possibly, but you could check those out. Got a decent little clumps of laydowns here. You can see it starts right here and goes all the way down here, but maybe checking those out. You know, those are main lake laydowns, so definitely could have some potential. You got another laydown right in there, some potential rock maybe back in here. It kind of looks like it, but the image is so jacked up that it's hard for me to tell, but it looks like you may have some rock right in that area, and you can kind of see it all goes down just the edge of this bank line. And then again, you got all these docks. You've got some more laydowns up in here. Honestly, the south side just doesn't have a lot for us to offer. You got one laydown there you can barely see. And then when we move up here, we've got another laydown up here in this area. And then finally getting up in here, there's some kind of debris that's back here. Now, I don't know if this is like an old dock or what it is, but you can definitely see it almost looks like one of those man-made seawalls. But there's definitely something under the water right up here in that pocket. Let me zoom out and show you guys where I'm at. So I'm right here in this pocket. So if you're coming up from the dam, you're going to come up and you're going to hit that pocket right just south of that little point right there. And that's where that debris is. That's probably been a really good spot for crappie fishing, but it could also be a really good spot for bass fishing as well. You got some more laydowns that are over in here in this area. Not too much going on along this bank line until you get right up in here. There is a little ditch in here that you can see. Now it's kind of hard to see with this image, but it goes through here and it makes a pretty good little cutout in the in the ground there. So some pretty decent little contours. Could have some potential. Not really probably a spot you want to spend a ton of time in, but still a good area to find fish. You've got some rock here along this point as well, so you can check out that. And then moving along, you got some more rock that's around this point, just right up on the bank line, right up on the seawall. But you do have some rock, shallow rock that's right in that area. And there's not a lot of rock on this lake, trust me. As we move further back in here, this little county line inlet, the only thing you need to be cautious of is just all of this timber. So just be really careful getting back in here. But once you get back in here, there's a pretty decent little creek channel back here as well. You can see it starts right here. Obviously, you could probably just make that mark all the way through because that's going to be where the creek channel is, wherever all that timber is. It's going to be right on the edge of it, either on one side or the other. But here you have a very defined creek channel that comes back here. You've got a really good swing that comes up right in this area. So that right in there, you could have some really good potential. And you got a really big turn right here that looks like an old pond or something back in here as well. So I could see this area in the lake being a really good area to go take a look at. Then as we move further up, we've got another ramp up there. We've got some ramps in this area, or just another boat ramp. And then some potential rock that's right out here off the edge of this. So you can see, again, very shallow, but we do have some rock that's out there that you could fish around. And then moving on up into this this big bay up here, there's another good creek channel that's way over here. It's over here by this marina. But as you get back in here, this Lake Palestine Marina, right underneath this bridge right here is a good crappie spot. I saw some guy just pulling them out one by one. That looks good. You could have some potential right over here too. I didn't see this on the first lake breakdown, but notice there's some standing timber right here in this area right before it gets back to the back. So maybe checking out right in there. And then as you get back here, you just got a really good creek channel that you could follow and fish. So as you work your way back there, you'd be able to see that entire creek channel and fish around it. I think you're going to have some really good success there. That's definitely an area that you'd want to spend some time in. You've also got a little ditch that comes over here and opens up. So there's some good stuff back in here. We went and fished back here, but I don't think we fished it correctly. There was a bunch of weeds on the line, the reeds on the shoreline here that we fished around. We didn't catch anything. But really, I'm thinking we should have backed off and focused more around the creek channel. We may have had some more success. So let's keep moving on up here and see what else we can find. We got another boat ramp there. I did say to check this area, and the reason why is because it looks like there's all this debris that's under the water right here. Now, I can't tell because maybe it's an old dock and it's been cleaned up by now, but definitely go out here and check and see what that is. If that's old debris and stuff that's in the water, that could definitely be a hot spot to find some fish. As we move on down here, again, not seeing too much on the bank line, just a bunch of dirt and stuff like that. I can't see any big ditches or creek channels or anything like that that really stood out to me. There's a little bit of rock right here along the shoreline. Looks like some riprap that the dock owners have probably put there, or the landowners, but those are always good spots to check. Also, right in here, you've got a ramp that comes way out into the water there, so definitely want to go look at that one. They're right off the point, too. That makes it really interesting. And then there's another ramp that's kind of hidden back in here, so if you got on that boat ramp pattern, you definitely have plenty of boat ramps to go check out on this lake. And then you've also got the stumps that are right here. So if I pull up here and we look, I don't even know if we can see it on this image or not. See if I can move this guy. Well, there were some stumps that were there, but I don't know if that's correct or not. So let's go ahead and I'm going to remove that one and we'll come back. I'll verify that when I come back. I'll look at some other ears and see what I can find that's out there. So as we move further on up here, again, not too much going on. Got some debris that's right in here that you can see. And then another boat ramp that's right here. Just one of those little personal ramps. And then moving on up, you got another boat ramp, another couple boat ramps that are up here up on Highway 155. Got another ramp here. Some potential rock that's over in here as well. Right behind these docks. You can see that right there. And then as we move further up, now we're starting to get more on the northern side of the lake. So this is when things are going to start getting a little bit more interesting. We're about halfway there right now. But as we move over here, we've got another laydown that's in here. This could be a potential hot spot. Good little laydown right coming out of like a little creek or a little cove right there. You've also got some debris that's out here. I couldn't tell what this was, but it's between those two docks. So definitely go check that one out. And then moving on up, we're now getting more towards the northern side. When you get up here, it's just south of the Villages Marina. So if you go just south of that and hang, I guess it would be a left if you're coming from the northern side. But you come up here, this looks like a potential pond. I couldn't tell. There's definitely it's definitely deeper right in here, and you've got a little channel that's right in here. So maybe come up here and fish around the outside edges of this dam and see if you can find anything. You also might find some clearer water in this little pocket that might be able to allow you to do some sight fishing and things like that come springtime. And then also when you're up in here, there's a nice little channel that's back in here too that you could check out. So that little pocket there that's just right off the main lake looks like it could have some really good potential. As we move further up to the Villages Marina, you've definitely got some rock, or I don't know if this is the Villages yet or not. I might not be there yet. But anyways, we'll keep going. I don't know if this is the Villages or not. I'm all confused now, but we've got some pretty good marinas in here. This is the Villages Marina. So you've got some pretty good rock all along this little shoreline here. You got laydowns that are out here off the edge. This looks really interesting right in here. And then just rock and debris and stuff like that, all kind of scattered out throughout that whole shoreline in front of the villages. So go look at that, see what you can find there. I've heard about people also catching a lot of fish around the Villages Marina. So maybe just fishing inside this area here could be a good area. I've never really had a chance to go back there and fish it a lot, but definitely be worth something to go check out. And then you've got another ramp that's right here as well. More ramps coming up here. And then we get up in here, we've got a little ditch. Now this could be a little man-made thing, but they've cut out a little canal here and you can see it. It just kind of runs right through here and then opens up back here where these docks are. This could be a really good place to find some spawning fish right here in this little area, right all along here. And then you've also got a little saddle that comes in here too. And you could have fish that might collect right there in that area, right there behind that little island. That spot right there and that other pocket are probably my two favorite spots that we've seen so far. and all that stuff around the villages. We've also got ramps up here, lots of ramps. Something to kind of check out would be right in here. I couldn't tell what this is, but something's definitely going on there, like these huge craters that are in the shoreline there. So definitely go check that out. Just see if there's anything there. There might not be anything, but it's something different. You've got a huge flat that comes out here. And then right on the edge of the flat on this northern side, you got a little bit of debris here. And sometimes those are like the money spots. You have these huge flats. You have no idea where to find them. But if there's one piece of cover on that flat, you can almost guarantee there's going to be fish on it. And this is the piece of cover that I could find as far as Google Earth. Some other things to check would be right in here. When the water's up, maybe coming back in here and just kind of checking this little area. It looks like it has a really deep ditch right there. So maybe they could collect right in that area. Notice all the trees here too. You got to be really careful. You want to get those boat lanes for sure when you're fishing these. And then as we move further up, we're going to get here. We've got some brush that's up here as well. Just kind of way out here in the middle. You can see it. See the big circle there underneath my brush icon? So that's probably something that some of these dock owners have put out there, a little brush pile that they put out there. It could be a good crappie spot. You got a ramp here, a little saddle that comes through here on this point. And then as we move further up here, we've got a really good ditch back in here. Now, again, if I move I can't even talk. If I move the water up, that's really not as obvious as you would think it would be. So definitely come up here and just come check out this little area. You've also, if you look really closely, you've got a little inlet right here that can come in. And again, you could find some clear water back in there, some good stuff to fish around back in there. So definitely go take a look at that. Let's move this on back to 2013. And I'm going to have to wrap this video up here in a second. And what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll continue where we leave off. But before we do that, let's just come back in here and talk about this part right in here, the Neches River side, and we'll end right here at the end. So I just want to kind of show you guys what I found. So we talked about that little ditch that was in there. As we move up here, we get by this Westbury Landing and RV Park, their little boat ramp that's there. Their boat ramp's actually way up here, but the water's way down, so it makes it look like it's way out here. But as you get up there, if you go just south of that, there is a little underwater pond that's out here you could check out. So I've got that one all surrounded by those icons. And then as we move up here, really what I've done with all these tracks is just trying to show you exactly where the creek channel is. When you get up in these huge flats, you really need to pay attention to where the creek channel is. If it touches anything, you always want to fish those spots. And if it makes a big turn, you always want to be looking in those spots as well. So you can see here, I've got the whole thing tracked out for you, almost all the way back to the railroad bridge, actually past the railroad bridge. So you can really follow the creek channel when you're out there. You know exactly where it's at and know exactly where you need to be fishing. And again, when you see that thing swing up against the land anywhere, those are going to be really prime hot spots to take a look at. So like right in here, you got a creek channel swing going right in there. That's a really good one. This is a really big one here too, a really good bend, and even fishing the inside of this as well. You've also got another little bend that's out here, an old road bed that's back here. You can see it pretty well defined. There's all kinds of good stuff up in this northern area. Now you got to be aware there's stumps everywhere. These are not tracks like boat lanes. These are tracks for the creek channel, and you will hit stumps when you come up here. So you got to be willing to, I guess, beat up your boat a little bit if you are going to get in this area. But man, it's so much fun to fish up here. You've got a good little ditch up here too you can follow. I've got that marked for you. An old pond dam that's supposed to be really good that's back here. Some more ditches over here, some more ponds that are over here as well. So just some really, really good stuff to fish. Tons of fun fishing up there. Another pond back here too. Didn't even see that one. Another old pond that's way back there. So definitely all this stuff that's up there. You've got another pond over here as well. So you got like 3 or 4 pond dams up there. You got creek channel swings. You got creek channel bends. You just have unlimited stuff to flip and stuff like that. It's just a really fun time to fish up in that area. So let's go ahead and finish it there. Like I said, I'll be back on the next video to talk to you guys about, I guess, really the other half of the lake. So Kickapoo down, we'll cover that on the next video. And then we're going to switch over to the Navionics mobile app, and we're going to talk to you guys about contour lines and offshore stuff that you should pay attention to. So until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. Make sure to go out and check out my website, simplisticfishing.com, if you want these waypoints along with the offshore stuff that we'll talk about in some later on videos. Lots of lakes out there. I think we're up to almost 70 lakes now. So you can definitely get these waypoints for the lake of your choice. Just go out there and check it out. Simplisticfishing.com. Till next time, again, hope you catch your PB. Take it easy, guys.